Welcome back, everybody. Welcome back to Phil's Recap and Review. This will be for The Sopranos, Season 3, Episode 10. I keep wanting to say this like Steve Martin in Leap of Faith. To save us all from Satan's power! Which is a weird title for this particular episode, especially where so much of this season 3 revolves around Ralphie and revolves around the Ralphie sympathy for the devil thing. If anyone has followed that whole philosophy where Ralphie throughout the season says different quotes for sympathy for the devil, Ralphie is mentioned many times in this episode, especially through Jackie Jr., who completely scapegoats him. But this is what I like to refer to, what we'll really call the episode before Pine Barrens, and the beginning of the end for Idiot Jr., for Jackie Jr. We also get the flashback in this episode. And I am back here, and of course I'm not alone for this Soprano adventure. I have with me my co-host, Big Daddy Matt. How's it going, Matt?
Bill, I have a very breaking news I have to tell you.
Breaking bad news?
In the last 10 seconds.
Oh, no.
Okay? I just got an alert on my phone that Remembering Big Pussy was going live.
Okay,
so,
yes, okay, good.
From YouTube, so.
Good.
Billy just got on YouTube, so.
Good. I was slightly concerned.
You did make it through.
I did. I was slightly concerned that as I've been doing lately, I titled these live casts, not necessarily just the episode title, a theme throughout. And I think no matter what happened in this episode, it was a Christmas episode for The Sopranos. It continued a few storylines here and there. But really, this whole episode and the whole theme of this is remembering pussy. Remembering Big Pussy, getting back to that thought because of, regardless of what you think about Vincent Pastore as an actor, overall actor, the character of Big Pussy is as important in those early moments of The Sopranos into The Sopranos' success as anything was, simply because of the fact that every radio station or cheesy morning talk show that was on television that couldn't say anything bad, they had to stay within all these rules and regulations. When they talked about The Sopranos, they could always say, Big Pussy. Not my pussy, little pussy, not my pussy, big pussy. Like, they could play that clip on the radio. I remember listening to that on EEI all the time and other radio stations that would never play or say anything risque or anything, but they talk about The Sopranos. They refer to Big Pussy. And I think the character of Big Pussy created part of that mythos that formed around The Sopranos in the early season that has kind of cast it even to this point now where The Talking Sopranos is such a huge success. We get a couple hundred people a week watching this silly mess of us talking about The Sopranos several million years later from people that have known nothing about what we're talking about. So and I think it all kind of started from some of these iconic characters, iconic people, and I think as much as Junior's a better actor, Tony's a better actor, Carmela's a better actor, a lot of the bit part players that popped in, Pussy was very important, Matt. Matt, this episode...
I know, but Saul in the chat starting off right away saying that we're back more than the show's best actor. Vinny Pastore, that's...
It was. I think that was
a dagger in the heart, and there's a lot of Jackie Jr. in this one.
Yeah, there's a lot of show to come here, Saul. We're also not alone, of course. We have the live motherfucking chat. I feel like I have to change the motherfucking chat for the Soprano thing. Like, I want to get a quote of Tony or Sil saying motherfucker and like play it right there, and that because I'm sure I can find something. The live quote chat, someone saying motherfucker from The Sopranos. So if someone wants to send me an episode title, an episode moment. But of course, we got AK47, AK in the live chat. Great to see AK. Lots of love to you. We got Saw Goodman, Miss Duncan the Tall popping in right now. I'm sure we'll have a few other faces popping in and out of the chat tonight as we talk about this episode. And if you haven't watched one of these with us, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about it here at the beginning, give our kind of quick thoughts on this episode, and then we're going to actually watch it live. So if you want to watch this episode live with us, get your HBO Go or your Amazon or your DVDs or your VHS cassettes, cue them up, and get ready to watch Season 3, Episode 10 of The Sopranos. So, Matt, what did you think of this episode? This wasn't one of my favorites. It's not a bad episode, but I wouldn't say it was it had some great parts, but overall, Pussy's important, but I like seeing Jackie Jr. get his ass kicked.
Seriously, that's
the highlight.
But I'll tell you, the low light is the fact that AJ never gets that same ass beating, because he gets the ass beating that you always wish that AJ got throughout the entire series, and AJ never gets it. And Tony legitimately, like, legitimately kicks his ass.
Dude, you bottomed out, motherfucker.
Right.
I love that ass kicking, and I love the scene when Jackie Jr. shows up the next day and just starts selling Ralphie down the road. Anything he can do to shift blame from himself. I'm going to do men's fashion. I'm going to do this. When Tony comes to it at that point and says, you know what, Jackie, I just don't know what I'm going to do with you. What do you think he means there? Tell Meadow or just get rid of him? I guess what I want to kind of explore between now and the end of this season where we see the conclusion of Jackie Jr. If Jackie didn't act like a shit fuck and do the whole card game thing later on, he just would have been ousted from the family. He just would have been not allowed it.
He would have been a Brendan Filoni or someone just like an idiot that would have probably ended up dead from some other way.
Do you think Tony would have eventually told Meadow what she knew about him?
Meadow already has her own, when they're playing Scrabble later on and he says butt or ass, whatever he types in there, fart, whatever the hell it is. I believe she breaks up with him of her own volition.
She does eventually, which leads directly to his ultimate downfall. But towards the end of this episode, I guess what I'm asking is Tony talks about what he's going to do with Jackie Jr. I don't know what to do with you. And I guess what he's talking about is telling Meadow. But then he talks to Melfi later about it and how it doesn't make sense because he already acted like a shithead with the racist shithead with the Noah situation. So if he starts complaining about Jackie now too, it's a broken record. And it seems like
it's a broken record, and it goes back to something I said last week, which is that if Jackie Tony in the back of his mind wants his daughter to end up with an Italian guy, one of his own. And Jackie is like family within being one.
He's close.
And for Jackie to turn out being a
douchebag,
being just like Tony, just like every other one of those guys,
but dumber,
then she's probably not going to go down that road again. And I think there is a part of him that wants her with an Italian boy and thinks there's hope enough for Jackie, or that Meadow can even save him.
Right.
I think there's a part of her that knows that Meadow's the right person to do that. I will say this about the episode, though, is that it's one of those where there's not a big thing that happens. It's definitely a bridge episode. But some of the most quoted and famous scenes from the
"Fuck you, Santa Claus." Fuck you, Santa Claus.
Are in here. That's a big moment, and him getting his ass kicked by Tony is a big moment.
You bottomed out.
Weird considering there's not a huge scene. There's all those little things. There's Tony going to get in the Russian, which is also partially a setup
for the next episode for Pine Barrens. They're seeing the most we've ever seen of Jackie Sr. in charge. The most we've ever seen of that part. We don't get to see a ton of it, but in this episode, we at least get a feel for what kind of boss he was compared to Tony. He was a little bit more, a little less one of the guys and a little bit more lording over them. I think Tony eventually gets to that point, but at this point, Tony still feels, at least in my vibe, a little bit more like one of the guys. This at least to me. Correct me. You can definitely say your impression, but to me, Jackie seemed like a little bit more, tell Junior to go fuck himself. Like just a little bit better at balancing everything in the standpoint and building that wall between him and the guys and still being loved. I don't know. It seemed like maybe it's in the romanticism of the small moment, but it seemed like, and again, call me an idiot for seeing such a short. It seems like he's better at boss than Tony is. Like he knows how to maneuver it.
Another part of that though is how much of that is Tony's remembrance of what happened. So
right.
Tony's going to remember it that way.
His mental framing, absolutely. And he seems dumber though because he's when Jackie thinks. Everything he says about Jackie. Tony's not going around saying, my son AG is a genius. He's going to be the next football star. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. What is Jackie walking with little Jackie Jr. and he's going, Jackie Jr., what'd you say in the car? What's the capital of Canada? He's a smart guy. And I'll never forget that actor that plays Jackie Sr. He was in the movie Death to Smoochie playing like an over-the-hill boxer that was little punch drunk. So I'll always hear him sort of talk like that. Okay, that's that. He has this weird voice, so he always comes off a little dumber than natural because the first thing I ever saw him in playing a really dumb, like a big heart, dumb, punchy boxer. Saul Goodman says, it was very nice of the mobster to do Christmas for the neighborhood. Did you hear why? Because Old Man Satriel, when Johnny Boy busted him out, hung himself, and it was very sad in the neighborhood, and they had to do something to cheer everybody up.
Well, it's almost like how like fraternities in college have to do some community service, like because they're douchebags the rest of the year. No
Right.
offense to any frat boys out there, but like
Mm.
it's their way around doing it. And honestly, Saul, you're gonna hate this, but this is my whole theory. That at the end of the day, they're not all necessarily bad people. I promise you that if Ralphie had his way, they'd cancel Christmas completely. But at the end of the day, I think that like. You know, it's their
Ralphie
way
would not can. Where do you think Ralphie is right now? He took Ro on a wonderful vacation for Christmas.
No, he would just enjoy different people sitting on his lap.
Right. Exactly. He's a jolly old soul, Matt. Jolly old soul. So thank you, everyone, for joining us for this Tuesday evening. Welcome back to the Sopranos cast. It's great to have you guys and whoever pops in along the way or watches this video later. So, yeah, this episode is a lot about pussy.
I just really quickly want to respond to something that Saul said, and I don't know, Saul, this is just off the top of my head. To be fair, he says Jackie didn't seem like he had to deal with people like Ralph. I think part of that, probably, and you're 100% correct, I'm agreeing with you, is because of the fact that Tony and Junior were really probably the top two captains, and they really, like, they had enough authority to deal with the people below them, where there wasn't a power struggle under Tony, and there wasn't a power struggle under Junior.
Yeah.
My assumption, because they had it under control. It wasn't an issue where there was people sort of vying for power anymore. Like they were clearly the capos, and like everyone sort of listened
right.
to them.
And
Jackie wouldn't have to. It would never get to Jackie, those lower people.
Yeah, and it was also a different time in the mafia where it was like sort of the end of the height of before everything started to go downhill with everyone being rats and stuff like that in that particular organization. So there was a little bit more of a happy balance. Hello, Muhammad and Icy Spots. Seeing you guys pop in the live chat. I also see JSM down in the live chat. Great to see you, buddy. Thank you, guys. We know that The Sopranos is an older show, and it's not everyone's thing, so we appreciate some people popping on in here that just to say hi that aren't necessarily Sopranos fans, and we also appreciate all the Sopranos people get ready to watch this episode with us tonight, or just stick around for the silly discussion. If you want to get your thoughts in the show, you can do that at 781-990-8509. We got a couple of messages already for the Pine Barrens episode next week. If you want to leave a message for Pine Barrens, please do that. Or in 2 weeks, when we do Pine Barrens. We may have some guests joining us that night too. Maybe a dready guest, maybe a guest that does some voices. But we'll see about that. I got to talk to those guys and see if they're available in that evening. But we might have a couple of guests pop in to talk some Pine Barrens. If not, Matt and I are excited to talk about that one and get his.
It feels like the last. How long has this been now? Like 6 years.
Yeah, it feels like we should just
building to Pine Barrens.
Yeah, it feels like we should just end it after that one. I mean,
that'll be it.
That's our series finale of The Sopranos, and we'll come back and start from the beginning again in a different way. But yeah, we're gonna cue up the episode now. So if you haven't already watched this episode with us, whoa, sorry. Oh, sorry. I just got a weird text message. Let me see. Dun 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 dun. Oh my goodness. Okay. Sorry. I'm sorry. I was looking at it wasn't a weird message. It was I got one of those dog DNA tests. We got one of those to try to see what breed Lotus is, and we just got the results, and it's very weird. It's very weird. There's like bloodhound in there or something. I don't know what the fucking bloodhound. What a weird fucking mess.
She's very short. They have very short hair with blood, and Lotus definitely has very short hair.
Yeah, her. You said it like Elvis. It's cool. Okay,
I know.
I got some hair. Great to. Lotus got some.
Ain't nothing but
the hound dog, baby. You got some hound dog hair. Yeah. Okay, so. So everybody.
Oh, Jesus. If anyone's still listening,
listen,
sorry.
Listen, Priscilla. We're going to get into this episode now. Okay, so if you haven't already, this is one of the shortest episodes of The Sopranos too. So that's why we're having extra fun being silly here tonight. Season 3, episode 10, to save us all from Satan's power. You ready, Matt?
I think so.
Oh, wait. I have to. Okay. Here we go. 3, 2.
No. It's 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Is it? Okay. 1, 2. No, it's 3, 2, 1, go. Don't mess me up.
Go ahead.
Don't mess. You're messing me up.
How many people does it take? Go ahead.
Big K. You're messing me up here.
Big pussy. Let's go.
Listen, stop being such a big pussy. So stop being so negative here. Okay. 3, 2, 1, go.
Oh, I think we're perfect.
You think so? Think we got this? Okay, I'm not in my case tonight.
I'm off by like a half a second, so it's perfect.
Perfect. Oh, fuck.
Turn mine off. There we go.
This is a little weird. Okay, let me... Oh, fuck. I dropped my phone in some water. I love the progression of cell phone technology now that they don't die right when they hit water now. But you do have to, you know, it wouldn't let me charge it, so I had to take it out of the case. Right, let's put it down there. Okay. Just in time, we got the Dwarf Burger Swamp Beard coming on in right.
Yeah, where have you been, Dwarf Burger Swamp Beard? I haven't seen you the last week. Maybe was it 2 shows, but definitely the last show.
I think he popped in at some point during the show. But
not the last show. He might have been 2 shows here. He definitely wasn't here last time.
We also...
See, I missed you, Dwarf Burger.
It's hard not to miss the dwarf. And Dwarf also was unable to make the cookout, so he wasn't there for the.
Yeah, I heard you missed quite the time.
Anyway, so we're starting the Sopranos episode here. Cam 2. Hey Phil, hey guys, have fun. I'll catch up later. Take it easy, everyone. Cam, thank you for popping on in to drop that like and say hi to us this evening for this Sopranos episode. So here we go. So yeah, I didn't dislike this episode, but you're right. It's sort of a moving along the plot. It's finishing off storylines to lead up to this point to end the Jackie Jr. stuff.
A lot happens in it for it to be one without a huge event.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess the huge event is supposed to be the Pussy reveal. That they're trying to figure out when Pussy first started ratting. And I guess... and I'm stealing this from Talking Sopranos stuff. Later on, when we hear from Skip, or early on, we hear that Pussy didn't start really ratting a couple years later. So all of this could be wrong. And the reason why, and this is what Michael Imperioli was speculating, that it could all be wrong. And this is all sort of a red herring-y kind of episode. Because Pussy didn't start ratting till later. He's acting all weird because of deciding to sell heroin to make more money to send his kid to college. Which ultimately leads to him ratting.
Right, that's why he gets caught.
But he's not actually doing it. He's not mic'd up in the Santa Claus. He's just drunk and pissed off. I don't know if I agree with that. But that's what they were speculating. Because we find out later from Skip it actually started a few years later.
What's funny about this is that, people that go and watch The Sopranos now aren't going to realize that gives them a specific date right there.
Yes.
Anyone watching the show in 1999 knows exactly, knows when that.
Oh, that's 99. Was it 96 or 95 or something? I'd have to look it up.
No, that's the trial. The trial was 95.
95. Okay.
Trial was in the fall of 95.
Yeah, we were in school. I remember us going down to the library and they let us out of class so everyone could watch.
Well, you were in school, Phil.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yes, that's true. That's true, Matt. It is.
So here's how I remember it. I was only at UMass Amherst for 1 month before I left that first time I went to college, and it happened while I was there. So I know it was in
the September time.
Yeah.
We got the Walking David in the live motherfucking chat. David, I was just talking about it. If you're around 2 weeks from now to watch the Pine Barrens with us, you're more than welcome to join us. I'll talk to you about that off air a little bit if you happen to be around. If not, I implore you to leave us a few voicemails or a recorded message that I can play on the air, or even a little video message I can play on the air for people to talk a few minutes about the Pine Barrens. We'll give Matt and I a little 2-minute break. So it's your choice. You can either join us or have a pre-recorded segment for the show. You tell us what you tell me privately what you want. We'll talk about it. I'm giving you a Sophie from the Golden Girls choice.
So I actually love.
Ralph wouldn't cancel it. Matt says so.
I love what they did right there, and call me stupid for thinking that. The fact that they perfectly added the right amount of hair to Tony to make it look like it was 4 years ago.
Yes.
As I currently understand, because right now they took it away. Just 2 seconds ago he had a lot more hair. And now it disappears.
Saul Goodman makes an excellent point. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I want to interrupt you with something important here. Ralph,
yes, of course he would.
Ralph wouldn't cancel Christmas. He'd beat up Santa Claus, steal the suit, and give them all because he's a whore.
He is.
Because Mrs. Claus was just a whore. I don't know why everyone's upset. And
she was a
whore, Tony.
So I love the way that they aged Tony.
I do. I love how they de-aged Polly too by covering the wings.
Just a tiny bit, and then it
dude,
goes up, as someone going like balding at this point in my life, it's like, yep, that's.
Dude, they could do that with me, with
my
my with this all being white.
color
that, yeah.
Color of the beard, yeah.
Color of the beard. Sterling, it was originally, the whole first season was originally supposed to be a movie that David Chase was shopping around, and then it shifted to a Fox series that Fox passed on, and then sold it eventually to HBO.
Don't get Phil going down this route, because now he's going to start telling us again how the whole series is supposed to be about his mom.
It was, and that's why we missed out on Olivia dying, Matt, for the 7,000th time. I love this.
But they did a terrible job of that with her at the end.
Oh,
as much as I love the way they did his hair, her in that chair.
Oh, it was worse than Princess Leia in one of the new Star Wars movies. It's horrible. So
I actually love the way they did the thing with his list. Like I forgot they had done that.
He's getting a list. He checks it twice. So they do a whole.
He adds. He takes stuff away.
He takes stuff away, like Santa Claus. Tony's like doing things for people. It also has an element of the Christmas Carol kind of thing, being haunted by the ghost of Christmas past, with the pussy thing too, and the big mouth Billy Bass at the end of the Coach, which is a great stinger to the end of this episode. And one of the
such a great ending because he has to sit there and
take it, and the acting is so fucking great.
Yeah.
Hey, and OTDA, thank you, OTDA. Hey, Puss, did she really even exist? And great moment, one of the best lines to Pussy in that moment, and shifts the tone of that scene when Pussy dies. When they go, did she ever even exist? And it gets real sad real quick there, OTDA. And also tonight, everybody, while you're watching this, or if you're watching a replay of it, tonight is all about remembering Big Pussy. So give us some of your favorite Big Pussy quotes and moments. Big Pussy in Starbucks. I love, and I had to go after a teacher's Saturn. So
what I don't want to hear about though is any conversations with Skip, because it's the worst.
Oh, those are the best. Okay, so
it made him look a good actor. That was the one thing. It made Puss look good.
This is a weird scene in a season in general for Melfi, and the way that they have her approach this. Okay, she's dealing with all of this pretty okay, but then at the end of all of this, she does the whole thing about she's been listening to her friends and she saw in the movies about the mafia. And is that when this happens, or is that later in the episode?
I don't remember. I just had to fix the chat because I still didn't learn to turn it off. I'm like, where is he reading OTDA? I got it. I figured it out.
Oh, did you look at the live chat instead of the top chat?
I hadn't been, but I got it.
Top chat is such a douchebag. Why did they do that? Sorry.
Why is that the default?
Yeah, why is the top chat the douchebag? Exactly. Don't be.
I get why it exists, but why is that the
default? But once you click that I'm 18 plus signing up for this YouTube chat, just give me the live chat. If I want to do this, the top chat. We
don't call it the top motherfucking chat.
No.
The live motherfucking chat. There's a reason for that.
Even it's unfortunate, the screen, like there's nothing I can do to get the screen, the real chat. It's just the live motherfucking chat. Oh, we got Kiki in the live motherfucking chat tonight too. Kiki, love to see you. I don't know if I've ever seen you in the live motherfucking chat. It's great to see Kiki in the chat. Awesome. Thank you so much, Kiki. Shout out to the song Bubbles, Bangles, and Beads. I always thought that was such a great song choice from The Confrontation. And I think that's one of those understated things throughout history because so many shows have done it so well after The Sopranos. But The Sopranos really was one of the first shows to take real music and make it fit so well.
Real music.
Yeah, real instead of soundtrack music, which is amazing. And some other shows have done it a little bit, but and I'm saying both work and some shows are better with different things. But the way music was orchestrated into The Sopranos created such an amazing depth to it and added that extra edge. The same thing with Scrubs as a sitcom. I think part of what made Scrubs, even though sometimes it's fucking emo bullshit.
I especially like this song. I mean, this really is the song.
Matt, that's a great mother jumping lyric, Matt. Oh, how did I not do it?
Right.
How did I not call you guys the live mother jumping chat to start the show? I failed you. I failed you. Oh, we got Kiki. Kiki is a fucking virgin. Okay, what's that? I don't know.
Kiki, are you a Sopranos virgin? Or
No. I don't think she's a Sopranos virgin. I don't know about that. She's probably a live motherfucking chat. So.
It's a live mother. What is it? Jumping?
Oh yeah, mother jumping lyric. And I love how this guy. I unplugged my stuff. I love how this guy just keeps passing out. It's a silly joke, but it's a freaking hilarious joke.
Yeah, Tony's had enough when he comes into this room.
I'm not gonna eat here. This place is a pigsty. Okay, she is such a scam artist. She's.
She is.
Did you see? And I didn't even think about this originally because I thought, oh, she's actually really hurt from the Russians. It's kind of horrible. And then what's his name? Steve Sharippa in the Talking Sopranos show points out that she was strumming with that same hand with the guitar right before Tony came in, like strumming hard and like playing guitar pretty freaking well. And so that's all bullshit. It's all how she can make money and bullshit.
Yep. She gets a guy like essentially killed.
Oh, AK, you're absolutely right. New York Undercover is one of those forgotten about shows for all of that. AK, as usual, bringing the fucking knowledge. In Charmed, Charmed and a lot of that CW stuff was, or not CW, Channel 38, or was that 56? I always forget. Like some of those shows were depending on your areas where they aired. But I agree that was another big one too. Oh no, Kiki's never
is
seen
a Sopranos.
Okay.
Oh.
Fair warning, Kiki. In case you ever give a shit about being spoiled, we spoil the fuck out of this show. So be prepared. Be prepared just in case. But
having said that, the show's done well enough that it doesn't really matter what we spoil.
No, it's and this is one of those shows that
it's a mafia show. Like a bunch of people are gonna die at different.
Yeah, and people have inappropriate sex at awesome times, and it's do drugs.
The show is really about some great writing, some groundbreakingly great writing for its time period, 20-something years ago, and still to this day some of the best acting ever done in the drama series. By not just one person. There's probably a half a dozen people that are just absolutely incredible.
And a bunch of douchebags called the Sopranos. Okay, so Kiki, I have to give you a welcome. Here we go.
It's cut out, Phil, your sound.
Oh, I think it just happens for you because when I listened back last time, remember I played the drums and you said it.
It must just be with the drums then. My phone must.
Yeah, I think there's something about the
headphones. Like, what the fuck is this? It just cuts it out.
It's what the CW used to be. I think it was UPN here in Ohio. Thank you, AK. And so welcome, Kiki. Sorry for the horrible musical rendition of something to welcome you. I didn't want to make too much noise. And, oh yeah, a lot of gabagool. The fucking gabagool. Okay, so people that don't know, here we go with spoilers. This dude's talking this way, and they're making a point to make it obvious to show you how he's a rat. Do we know yet that dude's a rat? Have we seen?
I don't think so. No, that's not till much later, isn't it? I don't remember.
Oh, cool, loud and clear. So okay, I love how they try to get Tony to be Santa Claus. That's never happening. And I know you're not the biggest Bobby Bacala fan, but I love Bobby in this episode when he starts yelling at the kids as Santa Claus.
Shyness is a curse.
You're going to shut up or you're going to end up on Santa's list, you little asshole. Yeah. Oh, good point, Saul Goodman. Junior hijacked Jackie's trucks and is very, very mad because almost Chris and Brendan do basically the same thing to him many years later, and it's why it gets on. And partly that's why, and that's one of those weird things in life. I don't know if everyone feels this way. If you see someone that's doing the same shit you are, you get extra pissed off about it. You see it in the movie Carlito's Way, excellently explored with Benny Blanco from the Bronx, and Carlito is a dick to him. And I'm not going to say the spoilers at the end of the movie, but Carlito is a dick to him throughout the entire movie because he sees part of him in Benny, and it bothers him. And I think there's some element of that with Junior in the way he looked at what Christopher and Brendan, that Filoni fucking kid. Meh.
Well, he viewed it as an act of disrespect because they were really nobody.
But I half agree with you, Matt. What did he do after that? What was Junior's response? To want to fuck Brendan and get him out of there, but take Christopher and make him on his family. Now he's going to give you headaches.
Well, part of that was an attack on Tony.
But he also said that Christopher does well. He's a good kid. He makes money for you. So he starts thinking, I see something in this Christopher kid. So I think there is maybe you can see the pieces. You can see the stretching there. Without too much bullshit to get there.
By the way, unfortunately, as much as the Pine Barrens is the best episode, like possibly, the guy that plays the Russian isn't the best actor. Like, he was terrible when he walks in there. And it's like, big boss, come have drink with me, big. Like, it's a little. Phil, you were literally just in a Russian cookout this last weekend.
Yeah, and I was.
Lots of vodka
that was more like I was. That's a difference.
Right.
I'll tell that story on Thursday night on the Issues program. That's my own issues that I need to get into tomorrow night or Thursday night. I said. We got OTDA. If this was Vito Remembrance, I'd have a lot more funny lines in mind. We'll get to Vito's Remembrance pretty soon, OTDA. We're going at a good pace. We'll slide some Johnny Cakes over to Matt pretty soon. AK, what's good? It's like when you're an unknown indie band and they explode and get famous. You hate the people that That's what happened with to so many people I know. We had this kid we went to school with, Brian, and he was the first kid we saw, Brian S. He was the first.
Oh,
kid,
yeah, sure.
First kid I ever saw wear a Chili Pepper shirt. I mean, we were in like elementary school, and this kid was wearing. I didn't know him in elementary school, but like he wore a Chili Pepper shirt. Like he was also
a kid that was like a skater and like a surfer and shit. Before that was
into the punk and the funk stuff. Once Under the Bridge came out, he was so pissed off. Everyone were Chili Peppers fans. It like annoyed him. Oh, here's an awesome dream with Stevie Van Zandt.
I had no idea what was going when I watched this. What the fuck is happening right now? I totally thought it was.
It's
real.
Really convincing. And I love how he just shows up at his house. We need to talk about this.
Right.
And I'm not going to say it's a shame because Stevie is a limited actor, but he does have such charm that finding out after the fact that he didn't get to spend as much time on set and wasn't in as many scenes because he decided to rejoin the E Street Band and tour with them and was on sort of a hard schedule. It would have been interesting to see what else they might have done with Sil if he was allowed to have a little bit more time on set, because he is a talented guy and he adds so much like chemistry to the scene that's going on. Unlike some of the other not actors on here, he works so well.
And he's a very unique character, unlike where the other ones sort of spill into each other.
Yeah,
Still is definitely a unique. His role in the family is very unique. His temperament is very unique for the most part.
You can see what they were thinking when initially they were thinking about casting Tony Soprano, and they knew little Steven, and they knew how he talked and his personality, and said, this guy can really act. He'd be a perfect Tony Soprano. You can almost see what he was thinking, and then they brought him in and like, no way he can do that, but we should make up this part for him because we need this guy's energy on the show, and that's kind of what happened with him.
But the show would have been terrible if he was Tony Soprano. He couldn't have pulled that off. AK, you are correct, but they weren't number one hit song.
Right, and they in their music style changed right at that point from like the punk, funk, edgy stuff.
There's nothing like that on Mother's
Milk. But no, you had the Higher Ground was a real fucking hit.
It was, but Higher Ground didn't sound like Under the Bridge. It wasn't a ballad.
No, and it's more about the.
If you just heard Under the Bridge and that was the only thing you ever heard about the Chili Peppers, like. That's not
it's true. It's
were.
true. Under the Bridge symbolized the beginning of the emo Peppers and the end of the punk funk Peppers.
Right.
And
there's still great songs on Blood Sugar Sex Magic that are the old.
No, and there's still great songs on Californication. And by the way, like each album has a couple of hot tracks that I like. There's a few songs here and there in each album that I like, but not a whole album that I've liked since California.
Blood Sugar Sex Magic actually is a great album.
Yes, and I would say One Hot Minute is too, and I'd say Californication is too.
I love that you said that because I am one of the few people that is a big One Hot Minute fan. But partially, I had a thing for David Navarro.
No, because we're such Jane's Addiction fans. But anyway.
Exactly.
Okay,
anyways,
so back to this episode. They're talking, but no, it's almost like I feel weird talking about this episode because I feel some of it is all much to do about nothing. And yes, AK. But by the time they were, by the way, Stadium Arcadia, they're full on emo Peppers. They should have even changed their name from Red Hot because there's nothing red hot about their music. After
it would have been a lot better if they got a new singer because he can't sing.
Brian Dodd, I love you, Brian Dodd.
He's getting a piece from a Jew in the city.
From a Jew, and what you get in your gumas? And this is the scene I was talking about before, where Paulie actually refers to his girlfriend Carla from Scrubs as his guma, and she's going to Morocco. What is she? Bada Bing Crosby.
And again, and like I said, this episode is full of famous lines. I'm not saying it's a good line, but it's a famous line. By the way, I'm just gonna say this, Phil, and I know this is gonna sound callous. I don't think she looks that great here or any better than she. I don't think it's the best Charmaine ever looked.
Yeah, Charmaine Bucco. I'm not.
I think she looks better other times.
This is a crazy scene in the sense that she's doing this in a funny way to just fuck with Artie.
And there is no one else that would do this to Tony right here. There's not another person alive that does that to him.
No.
She will do it.
No, because she just doesn't give a fuck.
She banged Tony. He can't do anything to her, and it's Artie's ex-wife. Like, he literally has nothing on her.
Only a face a mother can love. And you got a face for radio, Jason Voorhees. So Artie, who's watching out there, I love, and again, on this watch through more than any other watch through, and everyone I get more and more appreciation for how good Artie Bucco is. And one of those things that, again, weird things you learn, the actor that plays Artie Bucco, before they cast Tony, in all the auditions, was reading Tony. So everyone that basically got the role on The Sopranos, most of them, the first person that they read with as Tony Soprano was John
Was Artie Bucco.
Artie fucking Bucco. For a while,
has Artie Bucco been in anything besides this?
Not that I know of. I mean, we could do an IMDb drop on him. I'm sure he's popped up in episodes of Law and Order or other weird 60-minute dramas and television shows. I assume most of his work, other than this, is theater. Or indie movies and stuff like that has been the majority of his career besides The Sopranos. But I believe he's had steady work. When he was being interviewed, I think he works, but more indie theater world, unless there's something I'm not thinking about.
Yeah. I love that he takes like, if you're going to beat the shit out of some Russian guy, it's Furio. That's your number. Yeah. That's your go-to every time.
Yeah, and Furio is the muscle in this situation, and I love this scene. They both play drunk really well. Drunk is a tough thing to play, as having. There was a play I was in where I had to play like a drunk derelict screaming, and out of any little piece of acting I've ever done, even things when I've had much more lines, it was so hard to play drunk because I was either overdoing it and I was like just stumbling like an idiot, or it just wasn't quite enough. I had to actually drink. Basically, that's what I ended up. I had to method the shit and just like get a little flask and get drunk before the shows. Literally, that's the only way it worked. Otherwise, I looked like an asshole. So it's tough to act drunk, in my opinion, for me. Dwarfburger never liked Artie Bucco. I don't think you're supposed to. I think you're supposed to pity Artie. You're not supposed to like him. So I love this, and this is such a real relationship thing too, that Carmela ends up getting pissed off that he had sex with. Like, she doesn't care at this point, but the fact that Tony said she looks good, like, she gets
looks like a crow. What do you think he's doing? A crow? And he goes, a crone, a troll, a crow, whatever.
And again, Matt, we were talking about this. I don't think this is either of our favorite episodes, but there's so many funny moments. There's so many good moments in this episode. It's not one of my favorites, but it's so many great sections.
And it's so. That's such a great line because it's something that, why would you write that line? He goes, oh, crow. And she's like, what the fuck's a crow? He's like, a crow. Like, the fact that someone wrote that line is amazing. Like, no, he's going to fuck it up.
Saul Goodman says it perfect. I get more appreciation for how much of a pathetic dumbass Artie is on each watch. Yes, that's kind of how I feel about it, too. Jason had to start drinking before he filmed part 3. Helped keep my old boner down when chasing half-naked girls. That is something you better do, Jason, because there's a lot of skin in your movies. So I don't understand how, under that hockey mask, your cane otter doesn't just rise up out of your pants. Sorry, that was a bad joke that like 2 people in the world are gonna get. But anyways, it's as good as it gets from me right now. It's been 2 weeks off. So I never got that joke exactly. I guess Christopher's just repeating like, okay, because they had done it. And in fairness, that doesn't always work if you do the like when they did the Cat in the Hat and with Mike Myers. That it's not as easy as you to put a funny person in a costume and make money.
By the way, this is really dumb here because Paulie's about to say the boss of the family told you he was Santa Claus. He never says he's Santa Claus at any point. Tony never says those words.
No, but he gives the Michael Corleone look. I don't know. The mafia boss.
I don't even think he does though. I'm calling bullshit.
No. Okay, here it is.
Not me. I can't.
I can't.
Yes, you can.
Right now it's okay. You can't.
Why not? I'm shy.
He's shy. Tony turns away and no, he turned and goes like this.
This is the most Pauly thing ever.
I love, and then Tony,
Just, yep.
like Phil Jackson from the bench when someone's hack-a-shacking, it's like,
yeah, like you said, it's so dumb, but the joke is still so funny.
It works so well.
He's got the knife in his hand, like he was cutting the onion.
Yep. Yeah, dude, exactly. And right here, this is an amazing Janice moment too, and I think in some ways this is a transitional moment for her on the show in her relationship with Tony. Up until this point, I think, and this is just my approximation, this is why I think this is kind of an important episode in some ways. Janice is never trying to take Tony down. With the Richie situation, she's legitimately helping Richie, almost like Livia was, to kill Tony and have Richie take over. She never tries that with Ralphie. She's always on Tony's side after this, even if it's in a fucked up way. She's in his side, manipulating him and using it for his own gain. But I think this proved to her for once that my brother actually is out there looking out for my best interest in a weird, fucked up way. And she decides, I'm not gonna try to, maybe brother knows best. She realizes
if he's willing to do that for me, then maybe I could work this to my advantage.
Better way of saying it, Matt. Another manipulation for Janice. But I do think from this point on, her dynamic with Tony changes. It's no longer as adversarial, even though they do fight. It's more even in the Bobby situation later. They're like joking about how pissed Bobby got. Like Bobby really got pissed when you called me a whore. Yeah, I was like, but that's fine. You called me a whore. They have that like cool like.
Right.
There's no like he can make jokes about her blowing roadies. Like he does.
Saul, you're 100% right. Her being happy that Tony beat up a guy is her most sincere moment. 100% is.
Miles Prower. Well, that's another fucking awesome name. During season 2 of Westworld, I said that there was it was subliminally about aliens, and a couple people have scoffed. Have you seen the news lately? Get ready for the alien Christ. I would not be surprised, and definitely we'll be talking about that Westworld stuff later, Miles. Keep it in the motherfucking chat and keep throwing that stuff out there. I love it, Miles. Thank you for coming back in here and sharing that shit. I love it. And yeah, so lately, we don't have to go down that rabbit hole. Maybe Matt and I will do a podcast about it at some point because it's crazy. Bye, Miles. Great to see you. That there's a lot of fun alien stuff in the news I'd like to get into at some point. But I'd love to have Joe here for that too. I want to hear Joe's opinion and all of that stuff. Okay, so we get back into this scene that again, to your point, Matt, not many people, except for maybe Artie too, because Artie drew down on him. Not many people can get away with the shit that the Buccos can with Tony. Because they're normal people. He doesn't have anything on them.
Yeah, but Artie loves him. But she doesn't love him.
She doesn't, but for the same reason though. They're square people. He doesn't have any. She's right. She might be a friggin' douche about it sometimes and treat Artie like shit. But she's right to not let Tony get any pinch of hold on the Buccos or the restaurant or anything, because Tony takes. And he can't just have a little. He can't have a little. And Artie's too dumb because he loves Tony and Tony loves him. He's his only real friend, with maybe Sil. Like Sil's the only other one that's possibly his real friend, but that changes over time.
Artie's or
Tony's? Tony's.
Holly's his real friend.
Wow, Miles retracted the messages. I was gonna say, did you retract the messages because the Men in Black got to you? I don't know. You better the Men in Black do monitor this chat. I mean, they're the only people that watch it. It's like the 6 Men in Black watch us.
So Charmaine pisses him off. They leave and go to this other strip club because he said, I want to check out the competition.
Yes.
Anyways.
And now Jackie
Jr. probably totally thought he was safe.
Oh, 100%. And now Jackie Jr. is at his second bachelor party in 2 weeks.
Yeah, with none of his friends around.
Yeah, with none of his friends around. I love how that's his excuse again. He's like, it was a bachelor party, Tony. Oh, sorry, Tony. Yeah. I love how calm he is too. Tony's great at this. He's like, come on, I'm just gonna talk to you. No, you're fine. You're fine. Ooh, bam! And I also think I think what he's doing right there too is he's also testing his muscle. And he's testing, are you really a tough guy? If you're really going to be a tough guy, show me something here. You're going to be...
No, Jackie knows he can't hit him.
No, but I know. I think that's part of it, though. But he knows he can't hit him, but he asked him to put his fists up. I think if you're in that situation with the boss of the family and he's telling you to put your fists up, you don't punch him back, but you put your fists up to show you're strong and not afraid of him in this moment. You know, like, I think Tony is testing him a little bit, like Don Corleone tests Johnny Fontana. You gotta act like a man, and shaking him. This isn't like a total fuck you. It's like, you want to be in this world? Can you handle this? Oh no, you can't. You're a pussy. Like, don't be and then you bottomed out. I love it. Seriously, I'm worried about our good buddy Miles in the chat. I think the Men in the Black are at him because he keeps typing stuff out and then it gets deleted automatically. I think the YouTube, Google algorithm alien detectors are keeping tabs on him. So you keep speaking the truth, Miles. We'll be here with the podcast to let you do it. But I do think there was something to that, man. I mean, I'm not saying like if you want to be in this life, can you deal with this lightning coming at you? You know, because you're gonna have to deal with that kind of energy. Because you're gonna have to kill people. You're gonna have to, and he can't. He pissed his pants in the jewel thing, and then later on in the robbing the card game, he can't keep his gun dick in his pants, and he's afraid someone recognizes him, and he fires the first shot and gets everyone killed. So he can't handle this fucking life, even if he wants. He's not Christopher. Tony's right. He's more AJ than he is Christopher.
Yeah, and I don't think that Tony doesn't know what to do with him either. He's probably sitting there, you know, he's shit-faced. He's obviously not Father of the Year.
Okay, have you...
I think he does want what's best for Jackie. He would love Jackie in Tony's ideal scenario in his head. Jackie goes to med school, marries his daughter, and that's it. Yeah. And that's amazing.
No, absolutely.
So he would love that.
And at this point, he still thinks that's possible because Jackie hasn't told him he's dropped out of college yet. And I do want to say one thing about that Carmela scene. I think almost every person I've known probably been in a version of that where someone's getting into a fight with you about something you've done 20 years ago and you just can't defend yourself. And you're like, what are you mad about? When back in high school when you did that thing, you know, especially when we're like friends with people for 20, 30 years. I think there was someone at a party I was at this weekend that has long since gotten over something I did wrong to her. And I'm like drunk at the party still 30 years later apologizing, crying because I'm upset of what I did. I'm like, thank you.
Would that person's initials be CH?
Yes. And so but it was cool. It was chill. But I'm like, to her, she's like, I don't give a hell. But to me, I'm like, I'm sorry. Right. You know, like some things you still hold on to, or certain people still hold on to certain things. And I've been in that situation with Carmel where someone's yelling at me about something I did 20 years ago. I bumped into this person I bit in high school, and they yelled at me in a bar for 3 hours about biting them. I know Dwork has dealt with someone when he went around at that party and poked people with remember what he did at the Colangelo party?
Hold on, I like how you're saying that one party. That was that was like a summer or two.
Okay, whatever his summer or two when he was taking samples. Whatever, DNA samples. Whatever. We all had our stuff we did for certain stretches, Big Daddy. Ice cream truck.
I did more than like almost anyone. Trust me, I'm well aware.
Exactly. Is Tony B's Tony's real friend? I think that Tony B is family in the way that Christopher does, so he has that connection to Tony on a base level of being his cousin and having like love for him. But I do think they don't quite explore it, and as much as I love Steve Buscemi, we'll get into season 5.
He was like in high school when he did it. Like it doesn't. It's 25 years ago.
And Steve Buscemi and because Steve Buscemi doesn't quite flesh out the role so much that you're not sure what his opinions of Tony are about what happened. At one point, he seems not upset by it, and at other points, he's like, quit hovering over me. I've gotten over that, in a way that he's obviously not over that. So I don't think we had enough time with Tony B to really feel if he had passed it, but I do think at some point throughout that season, when he becomes made or when he becomes into it, he sort of, or when he starts dealing with the Angelo stuff and everything with his problem with New York, he sort of knows that Tony's one of the few people that he can protect. So, but we'll get...
They blacked out the Paulie's hair again. Tony's got the hair back.
Yep. So
Pussy's hair isn't gray on the sides.
This is weird that they have him talking, freaking out here. This is where they make it seem like he has a bug in And by the way, the kid that comes in that's playing young Jackie Jr. isn't the actor dressed young. It's the actor's little brother playing a young version of him.
Is it really? That would make sense because he does look just a little bit younger.
A little bit younger. Hey, we got Jake Cruz in the live chat. David Chase is on to him. Absolutely. He told him to put his hands up so he could beat him up guilt-free. If he isn't defending himself, you can only hit him so many times. Good point, Dwarf. Good to see great Jake Cruz in the live motherfucking chat. And thank you to everyone for popping in tonight. You guys, as always, make this a lot more fun sharing this discussion. If you haven't and you're enjoying the talk, hit that like button. And make sure if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button if you're watching this at a later time. And one of the most amazing things about Saul or Big Pussy or whatever is he definitely has that gene that some people have and some people don't, where he's good at entertaining kids. He has this big, jolly energy about him that's good at playing Santa Claus, and also just good. They play that the character is just one of those that knows the right way to talk to kids. Countered by
like Christopher would be the worst.
Bobby's pretty damn bad too. I was gonna say countered by how bad fucking Bobby is at it, and I don't know if it's the kid. It might be the same kid. I didn't check. The kid that tells him to go fuck himself might be one of the kids from the Mighty Duck movie, the first Mighty Duck movie. But the little kid that tells Gordon to go screw himself when
no, Mighty Ducks was way before this.
Was it?
Mighty Ducks was like early '90s.
It looks a little bit like him for some reason, but Joey
that kid would be like a lot older now.
But I love this. But he is the worst Santa Claus. Ho hum. Okay, do you know why I think this is a good performance by Steve? Is because this reminds me more, not having seen him now, like talking as himself. Like when he's talking like that, that's more what Steve Sharippa's really like. Unlike the nice, slow Bobby Bacala. The real Steve is very much like, bah, 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 bah. He talks a lot. He complains. He talks, bah, bah, bah. He's like a bitcher and a moaner and shit. So in a good way, in an awesome way. But so like I feel like this is the closest to Bobby really is. Go fuck yourself, Santa. Who would be the best Santa of the crew? Probably Saul. Of our group of friends, me. I would be the best Santa Claus, 100%.
I mean, physically he wouldn't be, but he loves.
I mean, that's one of my jobs. Is I go to
Phil gets weird around kids in a way that kids love, and makes grown men uncomfortable. But like the kids love him.
Yeah, I turn into like
Phil is literally like a jungle gym.
Yeah, I turn into a cartoon character basically.
Do you know those little things that you put on infants' cribs where they can like touch and make different noises and different lights and all those little things? Little, like kids, that's literally Phil around kids. He's not exaggerating.
No, it's pretty great. And I play music in front of them too, which is really awesome. So I think it's a cheat for our group of friends. I would be the best Santa, but I think in the Sopranos, I think it's definitely Saul. For who's left?
Who is Saul? Saul who?
Big Pussy.
Oh, Sal.
Sal, not Saul. Okay, so I was looking at the chat.
I'm thinking you're talking about Saul Goodman that's in the thing, and I'm like,
Sal.
What's it, Sal Pompanzero.
Yeah,
Yes.
Sal would be the best. But out of all these guys, the guys that are left right now, probably Tony if he could get into it. Tony's good with kids. Tony can be warm and jolly if he wants to be and friendly, but I don't think he could deal with it for the whole time.
Ironically, I think Hesh is a good pick, but you can't have a juvie Santa Claus.
Okay, so here's AJ being a douchebag on Christmas morning. Oh, I got a shirt again. It's stupid.
God, just give him the AJ tree. Give him the Jackie Jr. tree.
Would Vito would probably be a good suit because he's so to be nice and kind of a jolly kind of guy. I'm thinking about all the fat guys. It's Bobby, definitely not. Junior, I could see Junior being a good dirty Santa, like a good sisters cunt. This is a fucking dick move too. Jackie's showing up Christmas morning while they're opening the presents at like 9 a.m. What was he waiting outside? And it just shows up and Tony doesn't even wish him Christmas. He's just like, good morning. Saul Goodman would be a good Santa Claus. I absolutely think Jimmy McGill, aka Saul Goodman, would be an excellent Santa Claus. A lot better than Chuck.
This is still the time period where, like, Carmela's in love with the idea of Jackie.
Jackie's won her over at this point. Yes.
Yeah.
But even
because all she sees is this bullshit.
Yep. And even she is a little apprehensive to let him in the house though, because it is a little weird to show up at Christmas morning like this.
Yeah, but she's also. But see, this is the like. he's giving her a similar gift to what Tony.
Oh no, this is an exact parallel, and that's part of again what pisses Tony so off about all of this. It's just too by the numbers, and he's not gonna let his daughter be played in this way, like the way that Carmela, the way he plays Carmela. It pisses him off again because he sees that part of it is like, if you're in this life, you're gonna have a Gumar, you're gonna have this.
It's really weird that he walks in and just tells us to Tony. Is it his attempt to just come clean?
Yep. It's I'm in for a dime. I'm in for a dollar. If I'm jumping out of the plane, I might as well jump off the roof. You know, like you're already there, so you might as well let it all go and let him get all pissed all at once. But the college thing, that's when it's done for him. And right there, that he blames it on Ralph. And do you think Tony buys any of that? And even the gun thing, Ralph gave it to him, but he doesn't say the real reason he got it. He's like, someone broke into my car, and Ralph gave it to me for protection.
Why did he get it?
Because he was dealing with that ecstasy situation, and
but he did say he doesn't want it to prove a point. He does just want.
No, he wanted it for protection, thinking that Christopher's guys, if there was any connection to him,
may come after him.
Yeah, for selling the E, and he would have some protection to be able to defend himself. Sterling, Ralphie would be a great bad Santa. Joey Pants would be a really good bad Santa, or a good bad Santa's helper. You know, like he would be good with Billy Bob Thornton.
Steve Buscemi would be a terrible Santa.
Horrible.
He'd just be creeped out sitting on his lap.
No, he's what do they call him? Ichabod Crane.
Ichabod Crane, right?
He'd be a perfect Ichabod. No,
he'd be a great Ichabod Crane.
A lot of really sorry people called him that. I love that. I think Christopher would be bad. Especially,
no, he can't talk to kids.
And he'd sit on somebody. Christopher would kill one of the kids. He'd sit on one of the kids and crush them.
Artie Bucco
would be a pretty good Santa, but he's not one of the mobsters. The question was specifically which one of the mobsters at this point, now that Big Pussy's gone, would legitimately be the best Santa.
We don't have Vito really in the story yet.
No, but Vito would probably be the answer because we have had him a couple of times because he's the one that kills Jackie Jr. And Vito, the nice Vito that was gonna bring Finn to the baseball game, you know, and maybe threaten him, but whatever. But
we went to the baseball. That was to get some.
No. It was because he saw him and he wanted to make sure he wouldn't tell anybody else that he was that he saw him in the front seat, giving a guy a warm mouth massage. So yeah, I would say Tony or Vito. It's bad I'm like profiling because they're fat, but I do think the two of them
kind of are.
The two of them have a kindness about them that they could pull off Santa when they're around kids. We've seen them both with kids be relatively good. I think I remember Vito's kids being very important to him and being nice with his kids. Before
I'm trying to think of anyone else that would. This is amazing. This ending where she gives him the Billy Bass.
Yes, and the look on Tony's face shows that thing. It's the one piece of deep acting James Gandolfini has to do in the entire episode, and the look on his face says it all. He doesn't have to. There doesn't need to be anything. Just everyone around him enjoying it, and that look on his face is one of the most iconic Sopranos looks. It's a great GIF. It's a meme look too. You've seen this one before. This Tony's face, like the crazy look in his eyes. And no shit, it's so great, and how much the family's loving it. Oh, no.
For those of you who aren't quite old enough, these things were actually a big hit back in the day.
They were the Tickle Me Elmo of that year. They were the Pet Rock or whatever you want to call it. The big gag gift of the year that everyone ends up getting.
Cabbage Patch Kid that everyone had to
the Snuggie was one of
the Furby. That
Furby,
fucking weird thing that looked like Gizmo.
Sil might be a good Santa as long as you don't steal any of his cheese or this.
What do you want from Santa Claus?
You want some Jarlsberg? You want some I don't know. I mean, I don't think he's gonna do it. The part of the Santa thing. I don't think he's gonna do anything super inappropriate. But kids are gonna know he's not Santa. He's more of the guy that brings you to Santa. You know, brings the kid from the door to Santa Claus. Again, a Santa's helper kind of guy.
He's like the creepy elf out back smoking a butt, like when he's supposed to be.
Don't you say fuck you to Santa. Bobby Bacala.
Don't you say that to Santa Claus.
If they send Bobby Bacala to Santa school, I think he's going to get it because he is a good guy. I think they need to send, as they said, that he needs to go to Santa school. Ho-hum that guy. So that's our episode, The Sopranos. I don't know if there's much else to say about this particular episode, but it's an episode that happens, moves along the plot to the point where we got...
Moves along a lot of separate storylines for future episodes.
Yes.
Really moves the Jackie Jr. one along. Moves everything with Janice along. Obviously, the Pine Barrens.
The Pine Barrens has the preview to the Pine Barrens. The only thing we don't get in this episode that's a big tenant theme for season 3 is Gloria. She is mentioned, and there is a foreshadowy line that Tony says that we sort of skipped over, where they're talking about, is she Butter Bing Crosby? And he says, no, she's not like one of those girls. She has a job. She makes her own money. She doesn't ask me for everything. She's beautiful. She's almost too good to be true. So there's that one moment where he says that to kind of tip the hat that this season's going to end really bad with the Gloria situation. But so far, the Gloria situation's just been great, and there's no reason. And if anything, this is a bottle episode in the way that even when Melfi says to him earlier in the episode, oh, you've been doing really good lately and you had a panic attack today, it's almost a bottle Christmas episode, because he says to her, the reason why I'm freaking out is because of Christmas. It's all the things I have to do on my list. And she says, yeah, Stressmas. It's like, that's almost a theme of the episode, that mixed with pussy.
But Tony must know, even at this point, that there's no way the Gloria thing can possibly end up, because he cares too much about it. It's not a guma in the regular sense. He's head over heels, like, obsessed with it.
Do you think no, I think
he can't pull that off. He knows he literally cannot have that relationship and be with his wife.
Again, Matt.
Pull those two things off.
Again, Matt, I think you give Tony way too much fucking credit. He is a fucking moron that's led by his dick and his heart more than his head a lot when it comes to women. And I think right now he is full dick and full heart in. And he's not thinking about he's not even instinctually thinking about that stuff quite yet. He is so Kool-Aid drinking at this point, in my mind, the Tony that we see.
We literally just talked about a friend of ours that has done the same thing, because they don't realize that they shouldn't be doing what they're doing.
Exactly. And I think Tony right now, I don't think he completely realized it. He gets a moment when she throws the piece of meat at him, or in the next episode when she throws something out she buys him a present and she throws it out because we're going to be talking a lot about Christopher and Polly.
In the boat, right? Is
right.
that where it happens?
Yeah, there's a couple of Gloria and Tony scenes in Pine Barrens, too, that are kind of important. The first scene being that she's on the boat and Irina calls, the Russian whore, and she bitches at him, and Tony shows up and she has a Christmas gift for him and she throws it out the window and walks away. That's strike one for the Tony situation with her, that Tony starts to realize it. Like, this episode right here, Matt, is the last moments that Tony feels like this could be the one. Because as much as he loves Carmela, as much as he might not ever truly leave Carmela, I think he is searching for that other family, because some part of him subconsciously, as we see more in season 4, subconsciously always knows that Carmela might leave him at some point and have enough shit. So
she could just... Right.
Be up and done. So he's always antenna up looking for the next Carmela. And this has a chance. Same with Adriana later.
Well, not
Same with
the next Carmela, but the next...
what I mean by the next...
She's very much not Carmela.
No, that's not what I mean. The next Carmela meaning the next wife. The next Megan Draper. Instead of... because you didn't watch Mad Men, but the Megan Draper to the Betty Draper. Like, the next woman that's going to fit into his lifestyle and be his... Yeah. Girl that he can take to all the family parties. Girl he can start a new family with. Again, like he says with Adriana. A girl like that, I can start a whole new family with. So he thought it with Melfi too, when he first gets the divorce.
If Carmela leaves him, does he still have a Gumar on the side of...
Every woman eventually, yes. And that's what, and honestly, even though Melfi has at times, and even the actress has said she's played it this way, has had crushes on Tony, she, in one of the best scenes of the entire fucking series, I think it's in season 4, maybe early season 5, when Tony, the divorce is done, I think it's early season 5, Tony goes to her and tries to come on to her and like pick her up. I will not be deterred. And like he keeps coming on to her until because he keeps thinking, And believe me, I know this. I've been in therapy for years with a very respectfully to like an attractive person, but I'm only seeing the personality that person is. So I'm like not divorced immediately like, hi, therapist, I'm going to come on to you. Tony's not that bright. Tony goes in, he thinks that the person that Melfi shows him is the real person. And he goes in there to pick that person up. And she just turns into a real Jennifer for a second. And she's like, I could not sit back. She turns into, I could not sit back knowing that you fuck other girls all the time and do this and do that. And then he calls her a cunt and walks out because he thought the person that would be there is this warm, accepting of everything you say person. No, that's
non-judgmental.
That's what a therapist should do. Would challenge you, but be non-judgmental. And it makes you feel like, you're talking to your significant other at times, or your best friend that's just there for you, or like your puppy dog that's there loyal to you even when you have a bad day. That's part of the wonderful thing about therapy. If it's being done right, it's not that it doesn't challenge you, but you feel safe that person can kind of like be like, yeah, that person's the asshole in the situation, not you, or like can kind of be on your side there. And I think Tony doesn't see that. And I think with Gloria right now, he sees her having her own job and not needing money. And that if everything fell apart with Carmela, he could have a woman that could completely take care of herself, or have the perfect Gumar that's never going to need anything but sex and love from him. I think
he loves that part of her. He's turned on by the fact that she doesn't need him at all.
100%,
dude. Provide for her.
100%. And to what Saul Goodman in the chat said, Arena's definitely one of the worst actresses in the show. Especially
Is it a Russian thing? Because that other guy's pretty bad.
No, but no,
because the cousin's awesome.
One-legged cousin's awesome, and I think the dude that plays Sergei or whatever, like the main Russian guy is good. Yeah. And no, definitely not that. There's only one or two Yakov Smirnoffs in the world, Matt. So on that note,
wow, way to give a.
On that note, everybody, we're going to be back in 2 weeks to talk about the Pine Barrens. Very, very possibly, he said earlier, he's going to be available. So we're going to have the Walking David with us, joining us. Maybe I got to figure out how to do the visuals of that. I might need to switch screens on and off. I got to figure out, because I haven't had multiple people. Maybe we'll do it in a StreamYard thing like Tony does it. Maybe figure that out because it might be easier than doing everyone bouncing in from a Zoom call. And then I'm also going to reach out to the dirty one himself, Joe Dirty Locks, and see if he wants to join us for that episode discussion as well, because I know it's one of his favorite episodes of The Sopranos, as it's a lot of people's. But everyone, you guys have been.
Hold on. Is it everyone's favorite episode because it's Christopher and Polly?
No, I don't think it's my. I'm not sure if it's the. It's one.
I don't think it's not the best.
It's not the best. I think it's one of the more popular ones because it's one of the funniest ones. It also has a mystery. And it's unique bottle episode.
It's 100% unique. Like that stands alone on its own.
It's not.
And again, we'll talk about next week. I don't want to talk too much.
No, but I don't think just spoiler alert. I don't think it's the best episode, and it's not my favorite episode. But it's it would be in my top 5.
100%. Yeah.
But I wouldn't say. And I'd have to watch it again. It's been a while. It's going to be hard right now to beat that Burt Young episode for me right now. Since we've started doing these, the Bobby Bacala senior episode, Mustang Sally, all that stuff, that is still for me is coming up to bat. If we're playing man on top game here, nothing we've watched since then has topped that one for me quite yet.
Everyone's on their A game, and he gives the best performance of someone in the team.
Absolutely. This is going to be a big one. This might do it. The
thing about this episode, too, and part of it is because it is in such a unique setting. It is in the snow. Is that you remember almost the entire part of it, the sequence of it. It's not the other episodes they blend together because those things only could have happened in that Pine Barrens episode because they're happening in the woods.
100%.
No other place that happened.
And it does take two of the most unique, interesting characters and it puts them in a locked situation together that have always had issues and problems and argue well. So it's a great place. It reminds me a lot, and I don't know which one came first. So kill me, whatever. I think Deep Space Nine did come first. There's a Deep Space Nine episode. There are two characters on Deep Space Nine, Odo and Quark, that would always argue back and forth. One was the petty criminal. One was the constable of the station that was always trying to bust him, but they had sort of a Sam and Diane, moonlighting, Archie Bunker and Meathead kind of vibe to that. And Christopher and Polly up until this point too, always on each other's edge and problems, all led up to an episode that they had called Ascent, where they got trapped on a planet and they had to climb up an icy mountain carrying shit. just the two of them together, lost in the woods. And it's not dissimilar, it's not one for one, but it's very much in the same vein of the Pine Barrens stuff, which creates, if you love those characters, you've been waiting for this. This is one of those Soprano episodes that it had to happen. They've been leading this thing with Christopher and Paulie for a while. It has ramifications from this episode, and it had ramifications leading up to it. I don't know if they were sitting in the writer's room and being like, we need a big Christopher and Paulie episode. Steve Buscemi, you got any ideas? And they gave this, speaking of Buscemi, this is Buscemi directed this episode that we're going to be watching next week too. So yeah, enough of that. We'll talk more about next week's episode next week. But Matt, thank you so much.
And he means in 2 weeks, but yes, I could say next week too.
Yeah, 2 weeks. AK, thank you as always. AK, you are amazing. Saul Goodman, thank you. So I don't think Paulie and Christopher always had issues. They were pretty cool before the season. They had they had all those issues with being made.
When he gets made, there's issues with Paulie
sniffing the panties.
The sniffing the panties is almost like a coming to blows episode, but he does root for him. Hey,
No, he helps him out in the age.
The shoot your cuffs kid is like one of the best lines. Like he definitely views Paulie not as a father figure, but as a he definitely looks up to him.
And Paulie has an affinity for him that you see in the episode where Tony tries to fuck Adriana and Paulie and Christopher shows up at the club to try to shoot and he's like, Christopher must have known there were no bullets in the gun. And even Christopher thinks that Paulie's talking shit, but he's actually trying to help him in that moment. And we'll watch that eventually. That's a season 5 episode or season 4 episode. Okay, Matt, thank you so much for joining us tonight. If you haven't already and you enjoyed this shit, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Share the channel with a friend. And join us again in 2 weeks. If you want to give some thoughts on Pine Barrens, please do 781-990-8509. Text or call. If you're somewhere out of the country and you want to share your thoughts and you don't want to pay international rates, just email me at theissuesguy@gmail.com or igotissuesman@gmail.com. I will be back, I think, Thursday evening. I will try to get out here, I think, or possibly tomorrow or Thursday evening for a random issues program and babble about a couple of things upcoming in my life and some random occurrences. If not, Tuesday next week, I'll definitely be back, and we'll try to get Joe along as well for some silliness. Everyone, thank you so much. And Matt, I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks, buddy.
Yeah, I'll see you then. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thank you guys for making this an amazing night as always. Talk to you next time. Later. Oh no, this was Think Phil! Think Phil!